Okay, cool. We got things going. Let me just make sure everything is here. Hello, everyone. If you're here already, let me just make sure that I'm doing this correctly. Hopefully, everything's going good. Let's see. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, it looks like everything is working. The moment. All right. Hello and welcome. I am your host, Outlaw0420, Priest of Azura, and this is a special stream, 500k, not 500k, just 500 subscribers. Damn it, imagine I got 500k subscribers, that'd be so awesome. We're going to be doing Tales of Tribute because there's a golden pursuit for the house that's happening in Elder Scrolls right now, so commemorate the date, and yeah, you can get a cool house, but right now I need to do this one. Let's see. Here you go. So we're going to pin that task and we're going to do Tales of Tribute. We're going to play lots of games of Tales of Tribute. I'm unranked. Alright, let's go. And while we're playing Tales of Tribute, we're going to also talk about lore and some other stuff, theories that I have and other people have. And if we're lucky, we'll have a special guest. But I don't know. We'll see. So there's really not a lot of things that are known about me specifically. So we're going to go over some of that stuff. So as I've said before, you know, of course, Outlaw Zero 420 notes, not about pot. Whatchamacallit, the 420 comes from like birthdays kind of thing. Where do I have to go to kill things? Ganumbra. No. Yeah, Ganumbra. Let's just go to Ganumbra. Ganumbra. Alright, so. But like I was saying, so for Outlaw 0420, I came up with that name because, well, 420 is the birthday, and I didn't know that 420 was pot until I was in college. So that's kind of sad. As for Outlaw and Zero, there's an anime called Outlaw Star. And I really like that one, so that's where Outlaw came from. As for Zero, there is also another anime called Gundam. I'm sure some of you have heard of that anime before, and specifically Wing Gundam. And there's the Wing Zero that comes out in that anime, and so that's where the zero comes from. So my name is basically anime, so weeb, if you're wondering. And then I guess the other part of my title is Priest of Azura, and that's actually like a fun kind of story behind that. When I started playing Elder Scrolls Online, the only other Elder Scrolls game I played was Skyrim. And that's because I tried to play the original Oblivion, and yeah, the Barbie plastic melted faces just really couldn't do it for me. And my first foray into like Bethesda's games was actually Fallout 3, which the only reason I played Fallout 3 was because back in the day, the Rooster Teeth podcast, Gus and them were talking about Fallout 3 and that they were wasting so much time in there, and Mothership Zeta I think had just come out for that game, and that's how I got into Bethesda games. It was because of the Rooster Teeth podcast and Fallout 3. And no, I take it back. At that time, Fallout New Vegas had just come out and dropped the Old World Blues DLC. So, but Fallout 3 was the first game in the series that I played. Then I played Fallout New Vegas. So after Fallout New Vegas, I'd play it in college. I lived in the dorms, and I would play it in the lobby, and I'd play it in the lobby on the big TV. And once in a while, one of my friends would come, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna play Oblivion," and I'd watch her play Oblivion, and just the way that she'd play it and how it was going. I didn't like the way it looked, and I didn't like the way it played. And then her watching me play Fallout New Vegas made her hate Fallout, so it was kind of funny. All right, we're gonna start our first game. Let's go with a oldie but a googie, the Sorcerer King. All right, let's see what they're gonna play. Furious Ewok is my first opponent. Oh, we're gonna go Duke of Crows. Alright, let's get this going. Alright, out first, let's throw down everything. Oh, whoops, did I buy myself a coin? That's what I get for not paying attention. And we'll buy this, and we'll go. Alright. So yeah, but that's my experience with the Elder Scrolls franchise. Seeing someone else play Oblivion, hating it, and then Skyrim coming out and playing it because my friend had played it, or because I started playing Fallout and then I like Bethesda games. It's a whole complicated story. Alright, let's go. I probably should have bought this instead of the Duke of Crows card, but hey, you know, it is what it is. Oh, the bootstrap dude. Bootstrap dude. Okay, you only got 2 coins. What are you gonna do? And a card. At best, he gets 3 coins, so he can buy this and waste his coins. Nope. Okay. Ah. Alright, let's throw that down, buy this. Awesome. And this, we'll buy the boot. And I'll buy that too. And we will end our turn. Okay. So, but getting back to my story, where did I come up with the Priest of Azura part that I always say in videos? So, we were playing Elder Scrolls Online during the pandemic. I just got back into, well, we just got back into it because when I say we, I'm talking about me and my wife. We actually bought the original PC version of Elder Scrolls. So when it came out, she actually got the nice collector's edition that came with the statue of Moloch Ball and the Imperial edition. So she had all the nice fancy stuff. I'm not jealous. But yeah, so she had all that, and we were playing on the PC all the way up until right before Morrowind came out, and we had to stop because we had a kid, and so, you know, gaming or kids, that's what parents choose, right? So we stopped playing on the PC, and then we came back for Somerset, and we played on the PTS for Somerset. So before Somerset came out, we played on the PTS for a little while, and then we had to stop again because life happens. Damn it! I keep on going too fast for that. Alright, so I'm going to keep on buying coins. Yeah, we'll end that turn there. And we stopped playing, and actually it was 2019, right before the pandemic, Christmas time. In the bargain bin at Target, there was the expansion for elsewhere that you could buy for the Xbox One at the time. It was a disc. It's like, here you go. Here's Elder Scrolls and the expansion elsewhere. So we bought it. It was like 19 bucks, and then we bought the actual game for me, and from there we decided, you know what, this is really fun. We're gonna start playing. So we started playing more, and we joined a guild. The name of the guild was Keepers of the Heartland, and they're a social guild now. But when they started, they were actually a PvP guild because the Heartland in Cyrodiil, so they're called the Keepers of the Heartland. They moved away from that. Like I said, they're a social guild now. And when we started playing, we were in the middle of the event, the first Elsewhere event. Not the first Elsewhere event, the first Somerset event. You went back to Somerset to get a bunch of prizes and stuff, and we were in there and we were talking about lore, and people were talking about Mafala and how sexy she is, and Clavicus Vile and how he's a dick, and what do you call it, Nocturnal, and everyone's like, Nocturnal is the best, sexy mama, because everyone knew her from Skyrim and the way that she dressed. And so I was like, no, it's Azura. Azura's the best one. And they're like, no, Azura's not. I don't know why I chose Azura. I had no idea. The only thing that I had anything to know about Azura was from Skyrim. So just her quest, that was it. And also that she turned the Dark Elves into their ashen faces. So that's what I did. I took that and started running with it with the Azura. I was like, yeah, I'm the priest of Azura, and I would have spawned all this shit about, loving Azura, being her herald, and all this other stuff. And so from there, that's what I would do. I would just keep on going and spouting about stuff, and it just became like a little inside joke in our guild that I was the priest of Azura. And anytime like they needed something, or they're like, oh, what would we do in this world, or what would we do with this, what the morality, they'd be like, oh, the priest would know. The funny thing is that in the real world, in my real life, I was going to be a priest, but yeah, things happened, and I found my wife, and I decided not to be a priest. But that's how that goes. Okay, so we're still going. This guy, he's at 18, I'm at 14. I'm not getting too many good draws. I think he's doing way better than I am. We're being honest here. Let's drop that, get another one, and we'll end our turn. Okay. But like I said, we were I'd really go into it and stuff, but I really got into the lore of Azura, so now I know a lot more about her. And so we're gonna go into some like lore here and some theories. But in my opinion, and someone can change my mind if she wants to, but in my opinion, Azura is one of the most, if not the most powerful Daedra. Okay, let's get my turn done real quick before I start a spouting nonsense. We'll pull that. Alright, we'll pull another one and we'll end their turn. Okay, so why do I think Azura is the most powerful Daedra? Well, one, her dominion is the dawn and the dust. So she's at her power is at the beginning and at the end. In actual, oh god damn it. Well, he was able to drop Crow and get all the way up there. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do anything, so oof. Yep, so I lost this one. Alright. Well, I mean, that wasn't a horrible loss. Let's get back into the queue so we can do another one. Alright, cool. So her power, her domain is dawn and dusk. She has a lot of amazing power, and if you really look at it, when you look at the feats that she has done, she's done a lot more feats than any of the other Daedra. Let's start off with the Dark Elves. So she is part of the Tribunal. Yes, the original Tribunal, along with Boethia and Mafala. And so she leads the Chimer out of Somerset. Well, the Valathi, sorry. She leads the Valathi out of Somerset, which are known as the Chimer. She leads them to Morrowind along with Boethia and Mafala. She's also, instrumental in bringing up dark elf culture or Chimer culture at that time. And, she's making sure that they're loved and cared for. She's the more loving and nurturing of the tribunal. Oh, did they kill the actual boss? Was that the actual boss? Give me a second. Let me see. Yeah, that was the actual boss. Huh. Okay, cool. But yeah, so she's nurturing, she's caring, but she's like a mother. She loves you, and she'll take care of you. But if you piss her off, she's gonna grab her chancla and slap you in the face with it. And that's exactly what she did, because the false tribunal, Sotasil, Vivek, and Amalexia decided to kill her champion, the Neravine, and then she was like, okay, you guys suck. And then they decided to tap into the heart of Lorkhan, and boom. She's like, okay, now you guys really suck. And she changed everyone into an ashen look. So that's how the Dark Elves became, or that's how the Chimer, who were fair skinned, kind of like pasty looking, into the Dark Elves with red eyes and dark skin, to basically like punish him, even though most of them didn't do shit. It's the part that sucks, really. I'm gonna get St. Pelin this time. The entire race was punished because their leaders decided to be dicks. And for the longest time, I did not really care for, oh, I'm playing Furious Ewok again. Awesome. Okay, so I didn't really care for the Tribunal at all. Like, if I had to rate them, they all suck. The Vec was the worst, then Amalexia, and then Sotasil. But as time has gone on, my wife changed my mind about how terrible the Tribunal was. I mean, they're still horrible people, don't get me wrong. But the person that I've kind of like flipped over on is Sotasil. And the reason behind that is because out of all of them, Sotasil was really the only one that was kind of following the leader. We'll do power. Yeah, okay, that was not really what. God damn it, I messed up. Oh well. Okay, so like I was saying, Sotasil was the only one really following the leader because it was Vivek that really wanted the power, and Amalexia was doing it with Vivek, even though the Neravine, Indarar, was her husband, and she was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna do your best friend. That's the fucked up part about the Tribunal. They're all friends, including Nerevia. Nerevar, so Vivek was Nerevar's best friend. Amalexia was Nerevar's wife, and then Sotasil was everyone's friend. So, you know, kind of dick moves there. Your best friend was fucking your wife, and then your wife decided to kill you, and then your friend decided to make powers for all of them. It's real fucked up what they did. So that's why I don't really care for the tribunal. At least at that time, I did not care for the tribunal. And so I kind of changed my mind, because when you really look at it, Sotasil was the only one who kind of like regretted what he did. He he regretted it in the way that he he felt bad about it, because out of the three, he was the only one that allowed himself to be look like a dark elf, get the ashen skin, the red eyes, because Amalexia and Vivek changed himself half and half. They say half of the dark elf, half of the chimer, and Amalexia just stayed looking like a chimer. Okay, we'll pull that and that. Okay, we're doing good. We got 6. I'll pull him, and we'll do that so I can pull that, and we'll end my turn. Alright, so like I was saying, Totasil is the only one that really feels bad about it. He let himself become a dark elf completely, and then everything that he did, yes, he was trying to be selfish and extend his goals, but he also tried to do everything to help the dark elves. Yes, Vivek was their leader and he fought for them and all this other stuff, but he was ultimately, his goal was to transcend the mortal coil and be above everything, which, depending on what you look at, he has. In official Elder Scrolls lore, Vivek just walked away at the end of Morrowind, just decided to pack up and walk off into the sunset. Of course, Amalexia is killed by the player, and Sotasil is killed by Amalexia. Okay, let's get this real quick. We're gonna do this draw, refresh up to 1. Okay, so let's pull. Guess I'll pull that, and then we'll pull that, and we'll just do power, and we will boop, end our turn. Okay, so yeah, that's how everything ends up with that at the end of Morrowind, the actual game, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. But so Sotasil's tried to make things better for Tamriel, mostly the Dark Elves, but Tamriel nonetheless. But when you go and look at it, so the tribunals becomes a false tribunal by the time we get into Skyrim. So they're known as the false tribunal, and or the anticipations for the original tribunal. And if you look at it, the anticipation for Azura is Sotasil. So that's how my wife kind of got me into liking Sotasil. I still don't agree with everything Sotasil did. I understand why he did it, but you know, still kind of salty about it. Let's get rid of one of these and we'll end our turn. Cool, up to 11. And so that was just a big, real roundabout way about talking about Azura. But yeah, Azura is the best one, and she's the most powerful. And not just like I was talking about it earlier in the Dark Elf, she's guided them to Morrowind. She made them all look like Dark Elves because their leaders, the False Tribunal, were dicks. And she's always caring about the Dark Elves at all times. She's always worried about them. Even if they piss her off, she still worries about them, just like a mother would. And so, let's see. Let's grab this, and we'll grab this, and we'll play a card, and we'll do that and that, and then we'll get. Get that back on top, and let's get rid of this coin, and let's end our turn. Okay, so that's Dark Elves. Consider Azura. Then if you go and look at it, Azura also protects a lot of people. In the Elder Scrolls Online, when you start the Morrowind chapter, it's Azura who says, go check on Vivek. He's sick and a dick. I don't like him, but I don't want anything to happen to my people. So that's how Azura is, at least with the Dark Elves. Now, if we look at other creation stories or creation myths in the Elder Scrolls Online, we're going to move on to the Khajiit. And Azura is like the mother or the motherly figure of the Khajiit. I messed up. I wasn't supposed to play that card yet. Okay, let's throw that, and we'll throw this. Okay, let's play this. You know what? We'll grab this. Fire card. Cool. Doop, 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 and doopy doop doops. Okay, let's grab. I'm gonna grab Rally for sure. And then I'm going to grab this one for fun. And then we're going to drop this one because... And we're going to end our turn. Okay. So yeah, so getting into Khajiit. The Khajiit, in their mythos, Azura plucked out some of them. Plucked out some of the primordial elves. And then made them the Khajiit. The most fast. The most clever. And this is all from the Khajiit creation myth. They're the ones that call themselves the most agile, the most clever, and so I mean, honestly, they are the most agile. Are they the most clever? I don't know if I'd go that far, to be honest. But they do know what they're doing. Let's do power. Let's grab that. And we'll end our turn. Okay, cool. But yeah, so she's made the Khajiit. She is in charge of the Khajiit. In fact, her influence is what makes the Khajiit. Because she's dawn and dust, and I think she also has influence over the moons. Secundus and I can't remember the name of the. Do you remember the name of the moons?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I know they're called different in different races.
Joan? Wait.
Oh,
Master. Master.
Jude and Jode, right?
Yeah.
Are in the Khajiit, but Master and Mukundis is in other races.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. You know what? We're gonna drop Crow. Okay. So yeah, so those are the Khajiit. That's the Khajiit myth. You know, they control the moons, and if you don't know, the moons are what make sure what you become if you're a Khajiit. Depending on the phases of the moon, is what you become. How true that is, I'm not sure. Because there's a period of time where the moons disappear from the sky. This happens at the beginning of the fourth era. And this is how, if you've played Skyrim, this is how the Khajiit are part of the Altmeri Dominion. Oh, God damn it, I wasn't supposed to activate that one. Because the moons disappear, and then the Altmeri come and say, hey, look, we brought the moons back. Which they didn't do that. And then the Khajiit are like, oh, you brought the moons back? Let's be part of you guys. So, I mean, that was kind of a lie, and it's kind of a dick move. But hey, you know, it's the Altmer. What do you expect? Let's buy this one. And then we're going to do that. And I'm going to play that. And I'm going to buy this one. Yes. And then we're going to do that. Get this one. And acquire a card. We'll acquire that one. And then we'll buy this one. And then we'll end our turn. 54. 10. Let's see if he can get 10 points. Okay, so getting back to it. Yeah, so that's how in the fourth era, that's how the Khajiit joined the Altmeri Dominion. The moons disappear for about 2 years, and then they appear out of nowhere, and the Altmeri Dominion come to the Khajiit saying, yeah, we're the ones who did it, come join us, and that's how they join. It's a stupid thing, but hey, you know, they're the most intelligent, the most agile. That's how that works. But yeah, so during that time, alright, I won. During that time, there was no moons, so technically any Khajiits that were born during that time shouldn't have had a form, if I remember that correctly. So, but they did have forms, so like I said, it's not really concrete on how much the moons actually influence the way Khajiits look, but for most of the time, that's how that works. The phases of the moons decide what shape your Khajiit looks. There are humanoid Khajiit that came out in Daggerfall, the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall, I want to say. Let's see. There's also. Oh, I got the Golden Pursuit box. Let's look at that real quick. Tribute match. Let's see, did I get anything good? Ooh, I got patron guards. Okay, Tales of Tribute, blah blah. I'm actually gonna go into social friends. Since you're offline, I can't. Oh, I guess I'll just do it that way. Okay. The Elks. Okay, there we go. Let me know if you have those. I'm sending them to you. And so, yeah, so depending on the moons, and there's a point in time when you're playing the Elsewhere chapter in the Elder Scrolls Online where there's an eclipse. And when there's an eclipse, any child born during the eclipse will become the next main, who is the leader of the Khajiit. But because depending on how time works in the Elder Scrolls Online, I think the eclipse that happens at the end of the Elsewhere chapter lasts like a couple of days. So there are any kids born during that time, they could be the main, and it becomes a big deal. Like if you finish the DLC, the chapter, they actually talk about it. They're like, oh no, there was a thing, there was a eclipse, and if anyone born could be the main, because in at that point in the lore or in the timeline, there is no main because they died in the main story of the Elder Scrolls Online. So they're either looking for a main or they have a main, but it's a young child. But because there was a eclipse, any kids born during that eclipse could be the main. So they have to go and look and find if anyone was born during that time because they could potentially be the main. And if there's multiple ones at the same time, there could be, a succession thing, and that's the thing, you want to avoid, because the eclipse should only last like a few moments, and that's why they're like, oh, if you're born during an eclipse, guess what? You're the main, because even in our world, eclipse only lasts a few, like the pinnacle of an eclipse only lasts like a few minutes at the most. So that's the way that works. But yeah, that's why Azura is the best, because not only she created two different races, she's basically the head honcho in one creation myth. There are no other Daedra that get um, that stuff, because they're not. In other myths, yes, there may be Daedra. I mean, like the most powerful. I guess technically, if we want to get technical, the most powerful Daedra of them all is Lorcan. But he's dead, maybe? Question mark? Yeah, this is where we're gonna get into like fringe theories here. Lorcan, or Lorcaj, depending on uh, which mythology you're looking at. Okay, why can't I move? Okay, there we go. He is, or Shore, because in the Nords he's known as Shore. Uh, yeah, okay, either way. The point is, he was a Daedric prince, and he tricked a bunch of people into making Nirn. And then once people figured out, oh shit, we're dying because we're making this place, they're like, let's GTFO. And the ones that did stay because they were too weak became the Aedra, and the ones that left but keep on coming back are the Daedra, which are just fancy names that the High Elves gave them. Why do the elves name everything?
Yeah, man.
Okay, so either way, because Aedra means of ancestor and Daedra means not of ancestor. It's a real pedantic meaning behind those titles. And so either way, so Lorcan is getting all these people to make the world, and then when they figure out, oh shit, never mind, this is gonna be bullshit. Like I said, they GTFO out of there, and them getting out of there is how the stars in the sky are made, and the most powerful of them all, Magnus, bust a big fucking hole through there, and that's where the sun comes from. And if you're like, wait, what? The sun and the stars? Yes. When you're playing any Elder Scrolls game, whether it's Arena to Skyrim or Elder Scrolls Online, when you look up at the sky, you are not actually looking up at a sky as we know it. We are looking up at Oblivion, and our feeble minds cannot understand that. So it makes it look like clouds and a sky and stars at night. and the sun is just a big fucking hole, and it's not just a big gas of fire. At least not in the Elder Scrolls universe. That's where Magnus punched through Lorkhan's plane of oblivion, and that's how magic seeps into the world. Yes, that's right. The sun is where magic comes from in the Elder Scrolls Online. I paused a moment there just so you guys could, digest that. The sun is where magic comes from. As stupid as that sounds. But hey, plants get their magic from the sun. Why not us? And then all the other little stars were other deities or Aedra that weren't strong enough as Magnus to punch their self through, but they were still able to get through, so that's why the stars look all tiny. And then, like we said, the people who stayed behind, the Aedra, became the 8, I guess, the original 8, which were, of course, Alkosh, I forgot. Alkosh, RK, Julianos, Dabella, Mara. Trying to remember. Xanathos, and there's 2 more that I'm forgetting. Stendar. Oh, can I get? I can't remember the last one. The 8th one. I can't remember the 8th one. Oh, shoot. They're back. Oh, did I even start? God damn it, I didn't start the tribute. I'm just here talking like out of my ass. Didn't even start the fucking tribute thing. Okay. I can't remember that last divine. Let me look real quick. Let's see. Okay, so the 8 divine are Alkosh, RK, Dabella, Julianos, Kennerith. There you go. That's who I was missing. Mara, Stendar, and Xanathar. And then, of course, if you're playing in the 4th era, or if you're playing, in the 4th era, so by this time, well, actually, to be honest, if you're playing any of the Elder Scrolls games, there is a 9th divine. You guys can fight about it in the chat about there actually being 9 divines or not, which is Talos. Talos becomes the 9th divine. And no, we'll get into that later. We're talking about the creation myth at the moment. So yes, so those 8 that I named earlier, they become the actual 9 divines because they stay, because their power's been drained too much. And since they were pissed and everything, they had a trial for Lorkhan. They found him guilty. Alkosh grabbed his golden bow and shot him through the freaking heart. And as his heart flew over Tamriel, a drop of it fell into an Ayleid well and became the Amulet of Kings. Then, when his heart landed in Tamriel, it made a big, huge-ass mountain, which was Red Mountain, where the Dark Elves are. Oh, there's our next tribute match. And so... And then after they shot him through the heart, they ripped his body apart and threw it into the sky, and that's how the moons were made. God, Elder Scrolls Low is so amazing, right? You shoot a guy in the heart, his blood, well, a drop of his blood becomes an amulet that protects the entire place from oblivion. Um, then when his heart hits the world, it becomes the mountain, red mountain, a giant fucking volcano, and then his blood is ebony. That's right. If you've played any game, any Elder Scrolls game, and you're using ebony, you are using the blood of Lorkhan. Okay, that was kind of a weak first hand, but hey, it is what it is. And so, getting to what we were talking about back. So, Lorkhan, we're basically in Lorkhan's plane of oblivion. And that's why technically I guess he's the strongest, but still no, it's Azura. Azura is the strongest Daedric prince, and you guys can fight about it, or fight me about it, but you guys will be wrong. Because Azura's the best. Thank you, that is my TED Talk. Okay, let's jump into go back to what we were talking about. Yes, the 8 divines, and there may be a 9th one, as people debate about. But no, there is a 9th one. I believe in Oblivion, you can go and you have to get a divine item, an item from a divine, and you can get Talos's armor because it's considered a divine item because he's one of the divines. He became divinity itself. And if you're wondering why there's a big argument whether, because if you didn't play Skyrim or you have no idea why there's a big argument whether Talos is a divine or not, is because the elves don't like it. Specifically the Altmer, or the High Elves. The whole point of the High Elves is they believe that they were these magical spirits, and they lost their divinity because Lorkhan made them make Tamriel, or Nirn. And so they're trying to get their divinity back, and they believe by destroying Nirn, they'll get their divinity back. And so that's their whole game that they're trying to do. But they're really pissed because a human became part of the 9 divine, which means he transcended the mortal coil and he went off to being, part of the divines. And that's what they want to do, and they're pissed that a human did it first. So that's why they're always like, no, Talos is not a divine. So if you're wondering why that whole debate came up, it's because a human did it first. Leave it to the elves to be pissed. But yeah, there's multiple things in Elder Scrolls lore and the games that you see Talos is considered a divine figure, not because the humans say so, because there's quest items that you gotta get that honestly make him divine. Oof, man, he pulled ahead of me pretty quick there. Okay. If anyone's in chat and they want to talk about a certain subject when it comes to like lore, things like that, or anything really, just throw that message in chat right now, and I'll do my best to talk about it. I'm not the best at lore, but I do know some things about it. Oh, nice. And we'll drop you, and we'll end our turn. Ugh, 2 behind. Is he gonna kill my guy? That's the question. No, he did not kill my guy. Alright, I'll take that. Let's do this. Let's drop that. Okay, do I want to buy this and drop that? Sure, let's do this. Let's pull that. Let's draw another card. We'll do that, and then we'll drop this again. Alright. Nice. Nice play, nice play. So let's talk about mythology, like creation myths. If you look at it, everyone follows pretty much the same kind of the same kind of mythology almost. Well, I guess not really. Because let's start off with the Nords. The Nords originally were the Outmoran. They came from Atmora, which is in the north. And the reason that they came down, not only because of the, dragon cult, that was one reason, but because Atmora was becoming a frigid wasteland that they couldn't live in anymore. And so when they came down, the way that they saw it, which is kind of weird to be honest, if you look at it, they're from Atmora, a land up north, and their creation myth talks about Shor or Kinnereth. Kinnereth, sorry. Talks about Kinnereth breathing on the throat of the world and bringing life to Skyrim. How in the fuck did she bring life to Skyrim if they already existed in there? Give me a moment, guys. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Had a phone call that need to pick up. So yeah, it looks like I'm gonna win this game because that guy sucks. But either way, so like I was saying, okay, the throat of the world. Here we go. That's the whole point behind it. Like, Kinnereth breathes onto the throat of the world, bringing life to Skyrim or all of Tamriel, depending on how you look at it. And it's kind of like, okay, but you already existed. The Nords existed already. They came from Atmora. They existed at the Admorans, and then they came to Tamriel, and they brought the dragons with them. And it's like, oh, let's make a creation myth about this place that we weren't created in, and that's how it works. That's what I've always wondered about the Nord creation myth. It's like, oh yeah, we were created when our God breathed on the world, but we existed already. Or I guess technically, if you want to go, be pedantic about it, you could say that um, they were at Morins, but then they were created as Nords when Kinnereth breathed on the throat of the world. I guess if we're gonna be real pedantic about it, that's how that worked. Let me make sure I join the Tales of Tribute game again this time. Oh, we're actually gonna start early. Okay, so we're gonna go into this one real quick. I'm gonna get this one. Okay, so getting back to that. So, uh, okay, so getting back to our little creation myth law thing that we're arguing about. Um, okay, so the Nords, they have the Nords come into existence because Kennereth breathes on the throat of the world. Kennereth is married to Shor, who is Lorcan in other mythologies, and you know, Lorcan has, or Shor has, a handmaiden who is his handmaiden, who is known as Mara. And if you didn't hear the sarcastic point in my voice, handmaiden was in quotations because she was real handy. Okay, that was the last joke, I promise. The last joke about Mara, I should say. And so they don't really get into other things. I mean, they kind of do. You can look it up and see like the full story of the creation with the Atmorans and the Nords. But basically, the big players in it are Lorcan, who's the god of the mortal god, as the elves call him. We'll pull this, and then we'll drop that. And so there's this whole big thing that Lorcan is the god of the mortals. He's the whole reason that mortals exist, which is true. They're not, the elves aren't wrong about that, because if it wasn't for Lorcan or Shor, Nirn would have been created and there wouldn't have been a place for the mortals. Let's see, we'll just get power. We'll kill thing. We'll do that. Okay. Yeah, so the thing I've always wondered about the creation myth when it comes to the Nords is why change? Why change from the Atmorans to the Nords? They don't really say why that happens. Like, why not just stay the Atmorans? The only thing I can think of, the real reason why that happens, is because the Atmorans were tied to the dragons. And since the Atmorans were tied to the dragons, they decided, you know what, we don't want to be part of the dragon cult anymore. We want to get away from them. We want to be the leader. So therefore, we're going to become the Nords. And I guess if you look at it, you can kind of get where the throat of the world breath kind of thing comes from. Because it is at the throat of the world where the Nords shout, bring breath, and free themselves from the dragons. So I guess I could see that's where the Atmorans get that whole, we're gonna breathe our own thing away. I mean, I guess that's That's what I'm getting at. Why change? Why not just keep yourselves as the Admorans, conquerors of Tamriel? And before you're all like, well, what do you mean conquerors of Tamriel? Uh, Talos is a Nord, so he would have been a Admoran, and he would have gotten control of, the place. So that's what I'm saying. Let's get rid of that. All right, there. I don't know. That's like my thing about it. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. So let's go back into some other more creation myths. Why don't we do that? So we talked about the Nords, and we talked about the Khajiit when I was talking about how great Azura is. Let's get in with the Red Guards. The Red Guards are another race that came from another place. We're gonna gain power 4. And we'll just do that, and we'll end our turn. So, I can't remember the name of the place. If someone was here, they would be able to tell me. But the Red Guards came from another continent that their creation myth says, hey, one of our sword singers was so powerful that he literally cut our continent in half and it sank. So we had to get away from that, and we came to Tamriel. That's the sad thing about the Red Guards. Now that I think about it, the Red Guards came to Tamriel, and instead of having a place named for themselves, like Red Guardian or something, they're like, nah, we're gonna land in a place and it's gonna be called Hammerfall or Hammerfell. Why? Because a dwarf decided to throw a hammer, and where it landed, that's where they went, and it became Hammerfell. Yeah, if you did not know why Hammerfell is called Hammerfell, it's because a dwarf threw a hammer, and when it hit the ground, they decided, you know what? Hey, this is going to be Hammerfell. That's why there's dwarven ruins in Hammerfell, as well as Skyrim and Morrowind. Wow, I'm really getting off topics. We're talking about creationists, and then we went to the dwarves. Don't even get me started with the dwarves. So getting back to the Red Guards, they have a really rich, mythology, and they're probably one of the, other than the Khajiit, they're probably like one of the ones that have the most thought behind their. Let's drop Crow. Thoughts behind their creation myths. They have gods, their own gods. They do kind of have the divines, but they also have their own gods that they brought over from their original continent. They're real independent when you look at it. Like, they hate having to be under the boot of the empire. They always try to change stuff around, and they have their own mythologies and myths. They don't like dead things. They hate necromancy. In fact, they have a whole group dedicated to killing the undead. But if you become part of that group, you're ostracized from your entire family because you touched the undead, and that's not something that we do. So, that's kind of fucked up. Yeah, we'll drop that again. And that's what I've never really understood about the Red Guards is like, okay, you don't want to deal with the dead, so we're gonna make this whole squad that's gonna go deal with the dead, but we're gonna ostracize them because we're dicks about it. It's like, really, you guys couldn't just like be nice about it and say, hey, you guys are our saviors, you're protecting us from this, you're gonna have a place of honor in our society. But no, because you touched the dead, because you killed the honored ancestors, you are ostracized. I just think that's kind of fucked up. And I mean, I understand that that's how they believe, but I feel that that's just a dick move when you have these people come out and sacrifice themselves and you don't even honor them. Yay! I won this one too. Nice. Okay. I think I'm gonna play one more tribute match and then we'll call it for this special subscriber, 500 subscriber special Tales of Tribute event. But yeah, so we're gonna keep on going with that. What's your count on the dead? Do you like zombies, the undead, ghosts, things like that? Do you play necromancers when you play any of the Elder Scrolls games? Like necromancy is outlawed. By the time you get to the by the time we get to the third era, which is where all but one of the main Elder Scrolls titles takes place in, necromancy is outlawed by the Mages Guild. And that's why they're like, oh, yeah, you shouldn't be doing necromancy. It's a horrible thing. You're bringing back the dead. And a lot of people agree with that. Like the Khajiit don't like it. Of course, we talked about it. The Red Guards don't like it. The Dark Elves don't like necromancy if you're doing it to one of them. So the Red Guards are like, if you want to do necromancy, sure, go for it. As long as you're not using that necromancy on a Dark Elf. If you're going to do necromancy, do it on, one of the lesser races. God, the Dark Elves are real dicks, huh? Oh, look, I got a reward. Claim. I got 15k or 35k gold. Yay! And now that I defeated the bosses in Ganumbra, let's go to Malabator. Sure, let's go to Malabator. Let's see, where in Malabator we're gonna go? Malabator. Let's go. Let's go here. Okay, so getting back to necromancy and the Dark Elves. So the Dark Elves we'll do necromancy. In fact, the Dark Elves do necromancy a lot. That's how they talk to their ancestors. They have the whatchamacallit, that the thing that keeps the Red Death in Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. They use them to protect themselves from Red Mountain and keep dagger ore in there. Ooh, Captain J. Haynes. But yeah, so, Dark Elves are dicks. Look, I like Azura, don't get me wrong. But she really knows how to create dicks. She created the Dark Elves and their dicks. She created the Khajiits and their dicks. In the Khajiit mythos, she pulls the rot from whoops, I forgot that was with me. She pulls the rot from Larkon's chest where his heart got taken out, and she created Namira from that. And Namira's a dick. I mean, I guess if you're good at something, might as well stick to it, right? Alright, so let's start this game. Let's see what I'm gonna do. Depends on what he gets. I'll have 6. I wanna pull Toes of Flesh. I won't be a, scratch and reinforcements aren't a bad thing to get. If I have to, Warrior Wave is also a good one to get too. He bought Warrior Wave. Boo. Alright. Let's pull that, and then we'll get a thingamajigger, and we'll end a turn. Okay. Oh, well, nice. I'm gonna pull this one. Alright, let's see. Alright, cool. We're going. I'm just gonna be talking about random shit from this point. Lore random shit. Because I would really love for my wife to be here, and so we can throw. I'm gonna make, like, the next time I do this kind of thing, where we just talk about lore and chit chat and stuff like that. We want it to be a little bit more structured, but I really want her to be here so we can talk about the Dwemer. We have very interesting theories and views on the Dwemer, so it would be really great to have that conversation with her. I would love to have that. I guess we'll drop this and end my turn. Yeah, that was a bad play, but hey, it is what it is. Okay, yeah, so let's get away from the Dwemer. So earlier in the stream, I was talking about how the High Elves want to go back to being free spirits by destroying Nirn, and that's what they're doing. In certain creation myths, Michael Kirkbride, I don't know if you've ever heard that name before or not, but he was a writer or producer for the Elder Scrolls series, and he made a series of posts about like the mythology of Elder Scrolls. And in his creation myth, he talks about how Tamriel or existence is like a wheel, and there's spokes on a wheel. Have you ever seen if you think back to like the Oregon Trail, like old Western wheels, how they had spokes that connected to the center? He's talking about that's how the way the world works, and there's 9 towers that hold up the world. I believe it's 9 towers. I might be wrong. It might not be 9. But that they hold up the world, and if they get destroyed, then the world will collapse. And that is what the High Elves are trying to do. They're trying to collapse the world. And you're like, well, how in the hell are they trying to do that? Well, they're trying to do that by collapsing the towers. And if you're thinking, well, what are the towers? There's the White Gold Tower, the Dureni Tower, I think it's the Copper Tower, the Breath of the or the Throat of the World is also one of the towers. I don't remember exactly what the other ones are, but in the time of Skyrim, it's kind of like suggested that the last tower is the Dureni Tower, because they drop blood on the Throat of the World, which is the civil war. Can be interpreted by many of things like the the civil war is the blood that's thrown on the throat of the world, or Alduin coming back is what destroys the world. But yeah, they're trying to corrupt or destroy the pillars. So the Crystal Tower, which is in Somerset, I believe has fallen. The Copper Tower was destroyed in the Red Guard myth. And then there's of course the Durrani Tower. So the Durrani Tower is in High Isle, not High Isle, High Rock, which is funny because that's where we're going next. The Iliac Bay is where the tower is specifically located, and in Elder Scrolls 6, whenever that comes out, that's where we're going, and that may be the last tower. And a crazy theory about Elder Scrolls 6 is that the whole point is to reset the franchise. You're gonna go, the Durrani Tower falls, the whole world collapses, and then they redo the whole thing. I mean, I doubt that that's really gonna happen, and that's a really stupid thing to say. But hey, one can hope. Aww. That's not fair. He had a thing and he killed it. Ugh. But yeah, that's my crazy theory. That the whole point of Elder Scrolls 6 is they're going to destroy the Durrani Tower, and then they're gonna collapse the world, and Bethesda's just gonna reset the entire world. They're gonna do like a Breath of the Wild kind of thing, where they reset the timeline. I doubt that's ever really going to happen, but hey, it's just a crazy theory. All right, it looks like I might be able to win this game, but we'll see. Thank you everyone who's come out and watched. I'm doing a special 500 subscriber stream. I hit 500 subscribers. I really appreciate everyone who has subscribed, watched my videos. I really hope that it does help out people out there. I just started doing this because I honestly started doing this because someone said, "Hey, you have a voice. You should do YouTube." I honestly don't know if I do. I don't know if that's true, if I have a voice for it or not. You guys can be the judge of that. But I guess 500 people kind of decided that I do, and I am really appreciative of those 500 people. And I look forward to another 500 people coming to enjoy my videos. I really can't wait for that to happen. I hope that if you are watching this stream and you're new to my videos and playthroughs, that you hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and do whatever else the YouTube gods demand of you. Because, yeah, I would like to embark on these journeys with you. I do play Bethesda games. Most of my content comes out for the Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I think that's going to be it for this game. Ooh, yeah, if not this turn, definitely next turn. But yeah, so, I play a lot of Bethesda games. I stream Magic the Gathering, Pokemon. I play a bunch of different games, and I try my best to keep up with the schedule, but I have a life, kids, and work, so sometimes it's out of whack, sometimes it's not. But I do try to keep a somewhat schedule. I do try to post videos, shorts, as much as I can. So hopefully you enjoyed them. You had fun in the stream, me rambling about lore and all these crazy theories. I'm hoping to make an actual video series called At the Gates of Oblivion, where we talk about lore. I'm trying to get my lovely wife to join me on those. So hopefully that does happen, and I look forward to that and the future with all of you. So here's to another 500 subscribers. Thank you everyone for coming out, and I hope you did enjoy. So remember, my friends, someone out there appreciates you because I appreciate you. May Azora's glow guide you ever warmly. Bye. See you guys in the next one. Wandering the fields of Tamriel. Bye bye.